The movie begins by introducing us to Nancy Stokes, a 55-year-old woman who finds herself in a state of unhappiness after the recent loss of her husband and her retirement. All her life, Nancy has been an honorable woman who has adhered to the societal expectations placed on her. However, one aspect of her life has remained unfulfilled: her intimate experiences. Despite being 55 years old, she has never had a good relationship. This is what she wants to change at all costs. In the first scene, Nancy conducts online research and discovers a handsome escort named Leo Grande. She immediately books his services and rents an upscale hotel room where no one can recognize her. At this point, Nancy is a bit nervous about the encounter, as she has never dated a guy before, let alone been intimate with a complete stranger. However, she hopes that by spending time with Leo, she can finally experience the pleasure she has been missing. The following morning, Nancy reaches the hotel room early and tries to settle in. Each passing minute increases her anxiety as the anticipated meeting approaches. But just as she begins to feel overwhelmed, Leo arrives at her doorstep. With a gentle request, he asks for a warm kiss on the cheek, instantly leaving Nancy impressed. She can't help but mention how much more attractive he is in person compared to his photo. As a gesture of hospitality, she offers him a refreshing drink from the minibar, and the two engage in polite conversation. In the midst of it, Leo notices that Nancy is trembling, so he asks if everything is all right. In response, she mentions that she feels embarrassed due to the significant age difference between them. Nancy has started having second thoughts about this meeting, as she believes what she's doing is morally wrong. However, Leo, being the gentleman that he is, assures her that it is perfectly fine. He also says that she is extremely attractive and has a great body. To make her feel better, he even kisses her passionately. As Nancy regains her confidence, she begins talking about her past. She reveals that her late husband was the only partner she ever had, but their intimate life was terrible. He never allowed her to perform oral intercourse, believing that it was humiliating. Most of the time, her husband would just kiss her on the forehead and go to sleep. After this, Nancy reveals something shocking. She has never experienced an orgasm in her lifetime. She isn't intending to get one right now, as she feels too nervous. Leo understands her feelings and doesn't try to force the matter. Instead, he hugs her tightly, hoping to ignite the erotic flame within her. Following this, Nancy heads to the bathroom to change into her new nightgown while Leo grabs a candy bar and eats it. When she eventually comes out, she finds him lying on the bed in a seductive manner. However, Nancy is not enticed at all. She instead mentions that she doesn't like the smell of the chocolate he just had. Because of this, poor Leo heads to the bathroom to brush his teeth. Upon his return, Nancy tells him that she has changed her mind. She no longer wants to have intercourse because she doesn't think it is right for her. She tells Leo that he can leave with the money, however, he chooses to stay and talk to her. He curiously inquires why a beautiful woman like her decided to hire an escort when she could have easily attracted other men. In response, Nancy reveals that several men her age have expressed interest in her, but she has rejected them all. That's because she only likes young men. Nancy then opens up more about herself. She reveals that she used to teach religious education but feels a lack of guidance and meaning in her own life. She also confesses that she has made sacrifices for the sake of her 2 children, but even then, they have become distant from her. Throughout her life, Nancy has put aside her own dreams and desires, playing the roles of a dutiful daughter, wife, mother, and teacher. She feels as if she has wasted her life by always trying to do things correctly. Nancy also admits to being self-conscious about her appearance, influenced by her mother's teachings about vanity. However, Leo reassures her that it's perfectly fine to be confident and appreciate one's physical attractiveness. As their conversation deepens, a growing fondness and affection develop between them. After some time, Nancy becomes curious and asks Leo if his mother knows about his profession. She wonders if he has a troubled past or if he ran away from difficult circumstances. Leo shares that his mother actually believes he works on an oil rig. She is totally unaware of his real occupation. He further says that providing intimate services is an important job, so he doesn't feel guilty or regretful about what he does. Hearing this, Nancy feels a bit better, realizing that she's not the only one with these desires. She, in turn, reveals her most sensual encounter to date. It was 30 years ago when she, along with her family, were on vacation in Greece. Nancy encountered a good-looking waiter and started making out with him. However, their romantic moment was abruptly cut short by the arrival of a car. Nancy still thinks about that waiter today and regrets not doing much more with him. As she continues sharing her intimate past, she becomes more at ease. Leo senses this and abruptly kisses her. Surprisingly, Nancy gets excited by it and finally gives in to her desires. The two then make out and have a wonderful lovemaking session. A few days later, Nancy contacts Leo again and invites him back to the same room. She didn't invite anyone else, as she was very satisfied with Leo's previous service. As soon as he arrives, Nancy hands him a list of erotic experiences that she wants to try for the first time. It includes engaging in oral intercourse. However, Leo notices that Nancy intentionally crossed experiencing an orgasm off the list. When asked about it, she explains that she wants to take things one step at a time. Unfortunately, Nancy once again feels unsure about getting close to Leo. Things worsen when her overly dependent daughter calls, adding to her worries. Fortunately, Leo is there to help her relax. He gives her a massage and even dances with her to calm her mind. Leo advises her not to put too much pressure on herself to fulfill all her desires in one night. When Nancy talks about sacrificing her youth and missing adventures for her family, Leo finally talks about his own family. He reveals that he has a younger brother who serves in the military. However, they don't talk much these days. After some time, Leo suggests that Nancy book more sessions with him so that he can help reduce her stress. Unfortunately, this offends Nancy, as she believes that he is only here for the money. Leo quickly defends himself by expressing that he genuinely cares for her well-being. Hearing this, Nancy can't help but wonder why someone as charismatic as him would choose to work in this field and what kind of difficult circumstances led him to do it. Nancy holds outdated beliefs about sex workers, which are commonly held misconceptions. However, Leo disputes her assumptions by claiming that he genuinely enjoys his work. He is not ashamed of what he does because he understands that it can bring happiness and benefit others. Additionally, his profession involves more than just intercourse at times. Some women have asked him for massages, some have booked him for a genuine date, and some have even hired him to prepare food in the kitchen. As he continues explaining his field of work, Nancy gets excited and begins engaging in oral intercourse with him. This makes her more confident, and the two once again end up having a kiss. In the next scene, Leo and Nancy have their third appointment in the same room. They have a wonderful time trying different positions and techniques. With each passing minute, they're with it. Right then, Becky interrupts their conversation and reveals that Nancy was an awful teacher in the past. She called the students escorts, just because they wore short clothes. Hearing this, Nancy feels awful and apologizes for her past actions. She then tells Becky that she is a completely different person now and has realized that pleasure is not a bad thing. All of a sudden, she also confesses about her relationship with Leo and even recommends his services to Becky. In the next scene, the two head to the hotel room and make passionate love. This time, Nancy finally experiences her first orgasm. After their encounter is over, Nancy tells Leo that this will be their last session, as she has experienced everything she wanted to. However, she wants them to remain friends, and he happily agrees. The movie ends as Nancy looks into the mirror and admires her body. For the first time in years, she is finally contemptuous and happy.